SFJ 4x4 Studios presents
in my oversized four-wheel drive Jeep.
a Jeep podcast starring industry experts.
Pure monosity. What? Say that again.
With mad scientist Scott Brown,
Use my drill press as a sort of lathe.
our host Neil Simpson,
If one light goes out, they all go out.
filled with shenanigans.
We are really professional with Jeeps.
This is I Speak Jeep.
And go. Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever,
confused?
however. No, I am doing it with appropriate enthusiasm for wherever, however people are listening to us.
I still think he's confused.
No.
The ditch did him in.
No, I'm excited. The ditch was traumatizing. But we'll get to that point. I am your host of the SFJ 4x4 podcast this beautiful morning, and my esteemed colleague,
Mad scientist Scott Brown / welding expert extraordinaire.
expert extraordinaire.
Extraordinaire. I feel like you have to be when you start teaching.
Oh, you were teaching.
I was teaching.
I have been duly impressed. If those of you who are following on our social media, our YouTube, or even up on our Facebook page, you'll see Scott is going between two frames, making spectacular and seamless patches.
Yep. And then in true fashion, I put a MIG torch in my 8-year-old's hand yesterday and was like, here, weld this.
That was such a cute picture.
And he did.
Good for him.
And
Good
he
for
did
him.
good. And he was proud because he burned a hole in his sweatshirt and he got on the bus this morning. He was showing the bus driver, see this hole in my sleeve? And the lady's like, yeah, I welded. Good job, buddy.
You have to contextualize that story for people. You might end up CYS might end up calling you. we can name this one Scott gets his children almost taken away. My daddy burnt my arm.
He did it himself.
Oh gracious! My daddy let me play with
Let me play with fire.
electric fire.
Yes, electric fire.
Molten metal. Yeah, that was super cool. Yeah, you've really been brushing up your skills. Obviously, you started learning years ago, obviously welding and whatnot, and working on your 36, doing some framework. But now these CJ frames that we're working on, and we use some product from Rustbuster, which is a good partner business of ours. But hashtag not sponsored there either.
Yep.
But obviously you've been making some home brewed patches which look spectacular, as if they're not even there. You know what I mean? Like that
was the
repair
goal.
wasn't made. Yeah, one's the 52 MB and one is the 78 CJ5.
Yep.
And they look just extraordinary. And we actually have Rusty's body mounts on there as well. So we're using a couple different companies.
Yeah, just tacked the first one of those on this morning. Ryan, if you're watching.
Yeah, it looks good. He got his pictures. We should you should have had some of those pictures of that paint. Came out of paint.
Out so nice.
So gorgeous.
Yep.
So gorgeous.
Do you have any pictures, Scott? I can load them.
They're in the shared.
They're in the shared file.
I don't know
so
if you have that.
Davey, this is part of the program where we do a big shout out to our production crew here. Behind the camera is Davey the Savage Thompson, and producing. And thank you for all of your audio experience, making us not sound
Oh, just wait for Jeopardy today.
so terrible. Yeah, Jeffrey the Italian Stallion Shiramonte, which I got to have we used. Davey did the best Photoshop.
That needs to happen.
That
He
should go
used
right
that already.
Where did he use that
On
at?
YouTube.
Oh, good.
On our
Good.
YouTube
It needs to
channel.
be
It needs
used
to be
all the
used
time.
on here, too.
It needs to be used all the time.
All the time.
There's a picture. Just those of you who are listening on iTunes, Audible, Google Podcast, Facebook Podcast, so on and so forth. There's a picture. If you can think of the most stereotypical, like young middle-aged.
Fabio-esque.
Semi-Italian, half Eastern European, and like early 90s, 2000s dance move where your arms are crossed, and like leaned back like you're about to pop, lock, and drop it. And Jeff is at his wedding doing this, supposedly, and he had the picture on Facebook, to which Davey went on and found said picture,
rescued it,
and made it 10 times better by putting Jeff on the back of a horse.
Yes,
with the Italian flag in the backdrop. So
it was awesome.
We were thankful for that.
Yes,
and our
Good
guys
times.
running the back end of things. So. Those of you who are listening, it's important to note that you can join us live on Mondays at 10:19 a.m., where you get to interact via Facebook Live. If you want to send us a message, say something to us. Make sure to say hello, and Jeff the Italian Stallion will read that off and interact or engage appropriately. Or you can, if you don't catch it live on Facebook, you will be able to catch it the video version. It's kind of a post-production version on Fridays on YouTube. And of course, a big thank you to all of our 3 listeners across the world.
Share with your friends.
Share with your friends.
Make it 6.
Who are listening. Make it 6. Who are listening on iTunes and again Audible and Google Podcast and Facebook Podcast and Spotify. I was trying to think of
Easy there.
Yeah, don't want to get involved in that.
Oh boy.
Actually, we've cruised up the iTunes list. So if you're listening to us on iTunes, big shout out. Thank you so much for listening and reviewing, and that is super cool. And we appreciate your participation. We've got a very cool shoe. We got a very cool shoe.
You're hanging out with me too much.
I actually ruined my shoes over the weekend.
Yep.
I was gonna say a rundown of what our show was gonna be, but maybe if the shoe fits.
Oh boy.
Well, I ended up in a ditch. You may have heard or not. Certainly, if you're on my social media, you would see that.
Snowmageddon 2.0.
Snowmageddon 2.0. So
Piles are
Snowmageddon.
so large right now.
The piles are astronomically large. They've got heavy equipment, around our local area piling it up.
Mm-hmm.
And Thursday night, I attempted to drive home in Chuck Norris.
Yep.
And
he tried to be a gentle person on the road.
I was not that guy. I was not that guy.
Okay? You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
Okay.
Okay?
Are you?
Absolutely.
I was not going to barrel through in 4-wheel drive.
Yep.
I was just going to slow and steady through some of the back roads.
Yep. And the ditch saw him.
So there was oncoming traffic, and we're on this east-west road in the middle of a farmer's field, 100+ acres, on both the left and the right, north and the south of the road, and the drifts were huge. And I'll be honest, I did not know where the road was, but there was a vehicle that was coming towards me, and this is a road that I drive nearly every single day, and vehicle was coming towards me, and I was trying to be courteous. That's the word of the night.
Yep.
Courteous.
Yep.
And I was going about 5 miles per hour. I was going to kind of creep. I didn't want to stop.
Yeah.
But
Stopping's never a good choice.
Stopping's never a good choice in the snow. But I was going to go, 5 miles per hour and just kind of creep along and allow this vehicle to come by. Because, of course, if this is your first time joining us, Chuck Norris is a Jeep TJ Unlimited or an LJ on tons and 40s. And so it's a pretty capable vehicle, and I was just I was comfortably listening to an Audible audiobook in the heat of my Jeep, just enjoying the blowing wind, thinking, oh, this is so nice.
About the end.
Little did I know. I was so upset. I was just in the middle of Abraham Lincoln, and writing a letter to Congress when next thing I knew, my Jeep just slowly into just a huge ditch, 3-foot ditch.
I almost sent you a picture found on the internet. There was the new tire they just released next to a 40, and it makes the 40 look like a 33.
Oh, I told Leo. I showed my son, and I was like, "Daddy's new tires next to the 58s. That's what Daddy needs."
Yes. Ditch would have been like meh. What was that?
The ditch was like meh. I climbed up out of it, right? So I slide off. I'm on my side, and I throw it into 4-low. And at this point in time, I'm not too worried yet, because
reality hasn't set in yet.
No, it hasn't sunk in yet. And I kind of back up and I move forward, and eventually I put it into 4-low, and I can't get up to the left. I can't go left back up onto the road, but I cut it right, and I crawl right up out of this ditch in 4-low, and now I'm promptly straddling this 3-foot ditch.
Meh.
And I'm like, okay, so I'm going to horse it Like I'm going to gain.
There's where the mistake happened.
No, just wait. I'm going to horse it, and I'm going to then jump the ditch back onto the road. Right,
Use all
that's
my
my best
140
plan.
horsepower of 4.0 Fury.
Oh my God, I am so disappointed. I drove it to Pittsburgh, and I could not want a V8 swap it any sooner than the drive to Pittsburgh over the weekend after I was recovered. Long story. So I'm straddling, and all of a sudden a truck pulls up. You know, again, the guy that I had pulled over for, he's long gone at this point, and I'm straddling this ditch, clearly off the road, and this truck pulls up, and he opens the door, and he goes, "Hey, I was on the phone with my brother, and he said he just ran a guy off the road."
Hi.
And I'm like, yeah, it's me. And he's like, yeah. So he asked if you were still there. I'm going to recover you. And I was like, okay, well, hey, I mean, my other plan was just to attempt to jump a ditch. So I'm thinking, hey,
Just pull me through the ditch.
Maybe you can pull me through the ditch. And since we had already cleared out the snow to the rear of the Jeep, I went ahead and hooked him up to one of the D-rings in the back of the Jeep. He pulled me, and I sunk right back down into the Jeep, and I sunk into the Jeep too. My ego fell apart, and built a glacier. It was just an absolute glacier under the rear tires.
Yep. This is the same reasons you should not go out onto the lake or side streams when they're frozen over.
That's absolutely correct, because all we did was we busted through the sloppy ditch water, and then it started to freeze onto everything and freeze up my brakes. It froze up the suspension. It froze up the steering.
Yep.
Very, very challenging situation. It was so bitter cold. It was so outrageous. It literally took us just under 2.5 hours of pulling, winching, throttling, all that kind of stuff. A truck pulled up. Actually, 2 trucks pulled up and watched just for entertainment purposes.
I mean, you would.
Well, here's the thing. I would offer to help. So my hero in his white Ford pickup truck, which I didn't really
from your
mention,
experience recently, if you offered to help, you may have been in the other ditch.
So that's what he does. He actually went to move around, but he couldn't see.
Oh no!
And he actually pulled off the other side of the road and ditched his truck.
Oh no!
So now I was stuck on this side, on the south side, and he was stuck on the north side. Do you know what those other trucks did?
Left.
They yelled at us from 100 yards away. They called us names.
Oh, that's super helpful.
And then left.
That was super helpful.
So now both
opposite
vehicles,
of what you should actually do in that situation, people.
Both vehicles stuck north side of the road, south side of the road.
And
the guys
left you for dead.
Yelled at us and left. I was like, well, humans, we're lacking.
Thank you.
We're lacking.
It's not Christmas season anymore.
Apparently, nobody's given their quarter for their Aldi's cart.
No.
Right?
Yes.
The good news is, and this is the most valuable thing, and we goes
He's
back
still
to
alive. That's the good news.
That's secondary to this point.
And the
it
Jeep's
goes
okay.
back to our first 5 mods that we've talked about on the podcast before. It goes back to our Christmas present, our wish list. You know what both of those trucks had that Chuck did? I don't want to dwell on this fact, but
what don't you have?
It's not on Chuck yet. It's in my garage, which really should be.
Wasn't helpful.
Well, not helpful.
No.
Both of those trucks. I mean, this was a plain Jane Ford F-150, the secondary truck.
Yep.
First truck was like a kind of a beat plow truck. Winches. Folks, can't stress to you enough, because that's ultimately, I'm stuck on the south, he's stuck on the north. We ran the line across the road, off one of my side pulled off of me, and unstuck him.
Well, it's super helpful you were a land anchor.
I was a land anchor. At the end of the day, so we actually ended up daising the 2 trucks together via winches and straps, and they tried winching me out that way. No go.
Yep.
At the end of the day, it was just solidly winching.
That's the only challenge.
That got us out.
Sometimes the winch overcomes the traction the tires have. Because I likewise tried to be a good Samaritan, and my next door neighbor has a little newer Cherokee, like like a KL?
KL. Yeah, KL. Mm-hmm.
And
nice vehicle.
She got out of her driveway okay and went to go down to the back road of my road and decided that was a no-go, turned around because I had already read on Facebook 2 cars were solidly
planted in the road.
In the road there.
Yes.
And so then she was going to go back into her driveway, and she got about 3/4 the way there, and then the back bumper was hanging out in the road.
Oh boy.
And I was plowing my drive, and I thought, that looks like she's having a bad day. So drove the 4-wheeler down there. I was like, hi, do you need assistance? And what are you trying to do? Are you trying to go in or out of your driveway?
How can I be helpful in
And
this
she's
situation?
like, I'm trying to go back in my driveway. And I said, well, I have a Jeep, and I can come down and help you if you would like. Yes, I would appreciate that very much. So I brought the Jeep down, and I didn't use the winch because I knew at that point she was solidly all the bottom of her Jeep was against the snow.
Right.
That's a lot of
There's
traction.
a lot of traction there.
So I had to do the yank and
The tug.
method,
Mm-hmm.
and promptly pulled her more into the side of the pile.
Oh boy.
But I got her out with
Oh.
2 more yanks.
We 2 more tugs.
2 more tugs, and she was very appreciative.
Did it have tow hooks on it?
It did not.
So what were you attached to?
Lower control arms.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
they're very beefy if you want.
Well, I mean, if there's any damage, there's a Jeep shop in your local area.
Yes.
We'd love to help you.
Yes.
There's
it
a
is.
picture of Chuck. Those of you who are watching, you can see Chuck, and you can actually, I mean, again,
Is a passenger tire even there? It looks like it's completely gone.
no, passenger tire is gone, and that passenger rear tire is
worse.
Is worse.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking all 40 inches down in this
That's a
sloppy
challenge.
sloppy
It
muck.
looks like it was like a sunny day there too.
It was gorgeous.
Very beautiful.
Beautiful day. It was, temperate, Bahama breeze.
And the best part is you can see that winch plate on the front of the Jeep there.
Yeah, so the guy made sure to say, "Well, you got a winch plate, but no winch."
And there's
Yes.
a telephone pole right there. I should assume there was other telephone poles.
Yeah, oh yeah. We could have totally done an
15
Australian.
minutes probably could have been out with the winch.
Oh yeah, Australian Outback winch out, and I would have been out myself,
Yeah.
But I made poor choices, and those of you who are listening, I'm a big 8274 high mount winch junkie, and so I'm.
Which is why it's not on the Jeep, because it needs restored.
Yes, it needs restored, even though it worked perfectly fine. But I wanted it to
It has to be
be
pretty.
beautiful as well. I did want it to be beautiful. That's 100% accurate. Here's the thing. I'm gonna a big shout out to these brothers, because that's ultimately what it was. And the guy said, we got done, right? 2.5 hours of just absolutely grinding on these vehicles, and I had like $22 in my wallet, right, cash, and I was like, guys, I got $22. This is what I got. I'm happy to take care of you, at another time or something. And you know what they said? They said, no, thank you. You got over for my brother, and he had his kid in the vehicle.
That's
Like,
super cool.
That's super cool, you know. And we got to pay it forward. I said, I make sure we'll take care of somebody else. And we went down the road, and there was a couple more vehicles stuck. We got them unstuck, but they were just gently stuck,
Yeah.
And then the Amazon driver yesterday got stuck in my driveway, so we got him plucked out, and
Your driveway is challenging.
very challenging. And
Yeah.
he was so embarrassed, and he was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, blah blah blah." I'm thinking, dude, I don't care. Like, it's my driveway's a nightmare. It's uphill, and
Yeah. On a hill also.
correct.
Yeah. Super
Correct.
challenging.
It's okay, dude. Let's get you out of here. So all was well that ends well. But yeah, I ended up getting it cleaned up. I drove the Jeep to Pittsburgh, and again, just a tremendous testament to what the team here does, especially our performance mechanic Greg Lentz, and then one of our part-time mechanics Derek Wise. This Jeep took a beating. It ran the whole time. I left it running the whole time.
It's only the right choice.
Yeah, which I'm going to talk about on a kind of a somber note here in a second. But it took an actual just a snot beating during the storm on Thursday night, and then I cleaned it up and I drove it comfortably at 70 plus miles per hour. And it's important to note. And then I drove it. So I drove it to Pittsburgh over the weekend, and then I drove my family into school today. Hour and 10-minute drive. It's on 40s, tons, balance beads, and no stabilizers whatsoever. No sway bars, no stabilizers.
Yep.
And so I cannot hammer home. I always think to myself, how many people, concerned by death wobble. Oh, it's the stabilizer. Oh, it's the tires. Oh, it's this. I mean, I have none of that on this monster, and can drive it comfortably after beating.
Well, as comfortable as a old 4-liter can go.
Well,
I remember those days.
The engine was wanting, but I'm just riding it like a whipped horse at this point.
Yeah.
And I mean, we just run $3,000 everywhere.
Yeah.
And I just let her eat. Just hit the throttle and let her eat.
Yep.
Oh, gracious. So this is what I was going to say on a somber note, okay? And this is really important, folks. I was thinking about all of our listeners and winter preparation. And I saw a sign that says, prepare to self-rescue. And while I was grossly underprepared, I would like
blankets, right?
I had blankets.
Oh, okay.
I do. I have blankets because the kids
And
ride.
boots?
It's so I didn't have boots. Oh, there's the picture of the expect to self-rescue, which is a term from outdoor. I mean, there's climbing, there's adventuring, hiking. If you're going to do any mountaineering, skiing, so on and so forth.
When you go where no one else is and they can't help you.
Right. If it's middle of nowhere, no one is coming. It's up to us or up to you. And so a couple of things I really wanted to talk about based on my own shortcomings that I would want better for somebody else, and I'd certainly want better for our listeners, that this time of year, especially if you are traveling in the snow and the inclement conditions, that you should have, boots and blankets. If you don't have a winch, it's a great investment. Mm-hmm. Again, these two trucks, which were arguably plain Jane vehicles, worked wonders because they had that. I could have dealt with a small pack shovel, a little tool shovel. But one of the things that was most important to me, thinking about people that we talk to and deal with, is letting your vehicle sit, run, and idle when you are stuck. And I can't hammer home on just kind of a solemn note how important it is, because every year a handful of people are lost every year because they're out either on purpose or on accident in poor weather, wheeling, or just get stuck.
Yep.
And
going to conserve something.
Well, specifically, they're trying to they want the heat of the vehicle.
Oh, you're going that? Yep.
Yeah, they want the heat of the vehicle, so they leave the vehicle on. Yeah. And again, because my tailpipe and Jeep itself was buried in the ditch.
Yep, which is normally the side, about the quarter panel of a Honda Civic.
Correct. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're in my, like you said, Honda Civic, Chevy Impala, you're staring at my tailpipe as you go by, which was, I think, my saving grace of how I left it on. But it's so important that
if you do that, you have to go out and clear that away once in a while and make sure that stays clear.
It has to stay clear. It can't be underwater. It can't be under ice. It can't be jammed up with snow.
Yep.
We know personally people who have fumigated their vehicles to
lost
the point
lost
consciousness. And unfortunately, just a couple years ago, there was certainly a young couple who was out wheeling, playing, and in the winter muck, broke through the icy water, got stuck, and they decided just to stay in the Jeep for the night, but they left it run because it was cold.
Mm-hmm.
And
not a good choice.
And they passed because of that. So if you do find yourself in that situation and you are unable to self-rescue, which obviously we want for you, please, please, please be conscientious of where your exhaust is. It's why when you come into us for service and you have cut your exhaust off and it does not exit the vehicle, we are going to politely say something to you every single time, because, that's noxious fumes. Mm-hmm. Carbon monoxide poisoning is a very real thing. So, all right, we're gonna talk about fun things. Like I said, we do have a good program, other than me just telling you about my shenanigans over the weekend. We're going to be talking about in our hashtag not sponsored segment. We're going to be talking about Adams drive shafts. Mm-hmm. I too was also thinking how thankful I am for my big 1350 drive shafts in the rear and 1310s in the front, and just wailing on my axles.
Yep.
And then. We're going to talk a little bit about Jeopardy because I have to. But more importantly, I found this fun book that I wasn't studying over the weekend.
Hashtag not used for Jeopardy.
I think Jeffrey was taking some of his information right out of this, but he claims he's not. And per their copyright stuff, we're not allowed to even mention anything about it. So I'm just going to give Rick Harper the credits. I don't know who Rick is, but nice Jeep trivia and fun facts book. Every fan should know about the great American brand. I got this for Christmas, and I wish I would have read it sooner so that I wouldn't have made a fool of myself in the first round.
It wouldn't have helped. You have to remember that stuff.
Jeeps in movies and TV. I would have helped.
That would have helped.
That one might have helped.
That one would have helped because I was blown away in that category.
Yeah.
The word on the street is that we're actually going to play a third round of Jeopardy where the points don't matter.
Yourself.
Points don't matter. Nobody wins or loses.
Oh, no,
this
no.
Is
Points
this
absolutely
is like
matter.
Whose line is it?
No,
anyway?
no. Points matter. No, we're tracking. In fact, they doubled again.
Let's say you get the wager, don't
There's
you?
no points.
No, for Final Jeopardy, you get to write your own wagers, which we also have set up for today.
Anywho.
Oh, my gosh.
Back to that CJ. I got that picture available for you guys.
There we
it
go.
is, and it's glory.
This is, in our true hashtag segments, this is hashtag not a restoration. So that's not restored.
No.
Obviously, Ryan's wife. I'm sorry.
Barn find right there.
Barn find. It's not a spectacular paint job.
No. So nice.
With high quality paints. And so for the people who, are listening at home, maybe don't see the picture, or even for the people at home who are watching or on YouTube, we chose to paint this in a particular manner. Scott, maybe you can tell us.
So back when CJs and honestly a lot of AMC cars were painted, they assembled the whole thing, fenders, hoods, doors, all that got welded on, sands, their guts, and they went down through a pit. And that was...
Is that the official term, a pit?
I'm not use that as an official term. I'm sure there's a better term, but that's a Scott and E's version.
Was that
of
at
it.
the AMC plant, or was that in Toledo, you think?
Well, they actually
Had
would have had multiple ones.
Okay. I'm with you. I'll follow that.
Because CJs were actually made in, I want to say Brampton, Ontario, along with AMC cars, and then obviously in Toledo. And then there was another assembly plant in Wisconsin, Kenosha, for the cars, and so they kind of all did the similar thing. But it dunked down through this thing of primer, and then
Did it actually dunk in the primer, or they spray it as it went through?
It dunked through the primer.
Actually, like a dunk tank.
Like a dunk tank.
Okay.
And then after that was then sprayed the color of its choice, and they went in batches, so about 5 to 6 vehicles of color went together. So your vehicle that you have now was with brethren that was similar color, and it was honestly more important about color than what vehicle it was. So you would have a line, and there'd be like a Gremlin, and then a Javelin, and then a Jeep would all be in line together. So it must have been very entertaining for the people assembling those.
To clarify, Amy's asking a VAT.
There you go. That's my wife. She helps me out so much.
Oh my God.
True love right there. So anywho, I decided to, instead of having bare steel in between panels like they did at the factory, hashtag why they rust out, we went ahead and primed underneath all those panels and then assembled the Jeep, and then he sprayed it together as you see. So the hinges, the bolts, all that kind of stuff has a very period correct hashtag not restorated.
Not restored.
Look.
Not restorated.
And
yeah, there's a soundbite.
There's a soundbite. And there's all those hinges, as you see, are actually stainless, but he chose to go OE look with that Jeep.
Yeah.
Which is also how my wife's Jeep was done as well.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty gorgeous. So this is those of you who are listening, this is a beautiful green, like a really deep
Load-in green.
Load-in.
I'm probably not saying it right, but it's a factory color for that year. It's not the original color for this Jeep. They kind of, at this point, they're just building their dream Jeep. If they went back in time and ordered it the way they wanted to.
But not in a restored manner.
But not in a restored manner. That's why they ordered it, But Ryan owns that Jeep, and he was in. Whole family was in over the weekend. Saw it. Really excited. They're super pumped about the whole process.
Yeah.
His son had the cutest sweatshirt on. It said, "That's how I roll," and it's the Jeep's tumbling across the sweatshirt.
Oh my gosh!
You should totally not do that with this Jeep when I'm done with it, Ryan.
No, you should not do that with this Jeep. This one's supposed to be going to some Jeep Jamboree USA's, but
it's gonna be really pretty.
We'll see what it does. Actually,
yeah,
a pretty spectacular vehicle there.
Yeah,
yeah, very very cool. And we're going to be sending his frame and the 52 MB frame.
Yeah, not MB, M38.
M38. Oh my gosh.
See what Jeff did to you.
Jeff, yeah, you got me all.
Oh boy, that might be a problem with Jeopardy right there.
Oh man, this is going to be a rough day. It's going to be a rough day.
But I am kind of bent to get both these out to paint this week.
Yes.
For some unknown reason, I put that on myself.
Good.
So that is my goal.
Support you in that cause.
And I am close. So.
Yes, if we didn't have 10 other vehicles in the shop
I can't
right
even
now.
see the shop right now. It's just Jeep solid.
Which is fantastic, and we appreciate everyone's support in that process and for making SFJ the brand that it is.
Ryan's came back. He's like, didn't you guys just clear this all out like 6 months ago and just barely had room for 2 vehicles, and now there's 4 over here? I'm like, yep. At least I'm keeping all the CJs together.
Yeah,
and you know they're all
instead of the wing. I haven't built the wing to the building
it's
yet,
close.
so we're
I had
doing
to go
our
into
best
my
that
own,
we can.
put things in my own hands.
Yes, yes. Jeffrey, should we stop for a commercial break at this time, or should we go to not sponsored?
Let's do not sponsored.
All right, we're gonna do it.
And now it's time for our product spotlight.
Is that fancy intro? Boo. The Italian Stallion with his audio games. Did you prepare something to talk about here with this?
I did.
Beautiful
I
Adams
did.
drive shaft.
In the true state of Jeopardy facts, I was like, I should look up history of drive shafts. I don't know that.
History
History of drive shafts.
I love drive shafts.
Yes. The term was first used in 1861.
Not a prop shaft?
It actually was specific with drive shaft.
Huh.
I didn't look up prop shaft. Maybe that'd be another episode.
Yeah.
And it was originally termed in the Stover planting matching machine. It was in his
In a
drawings.
In a what?
In a planting/matching machine made by Stover.
Okay. Do you know who Stover is?
I have no idea.
Okay. So you're just finding a drive shaft. You're just telling us about
focused
the
on our
term.
product.
This is not our product. You're just
Anyway.
You're just doing a history lesson.
Anyway, Taylor Nunez just popped in, says hi.
Oh, hey Taylor. This might actually be
No.
No? Okay.
That's not his.
All right.
So
Yours is here, Taylor.
It is. In 1891, Battles referred to the shaft between trans and driving truck of his Climax locomotive as a dry shaft.
Who did?
Battles.
Who's Battles?
I have no idea.
You did your homework, but you didn't. I'm gonna take this because you're gonna spank me in Jeopardy.
No, we're gonna clarify. Scott's homework is like the high school cram session right before the test starts.
Totally wrote this morning. Anyway,
We're supposed to be talking about Adams drive shaft and the wonderful work they do in the
we're
Jeep
gonna get there.
industry.
You're gonna talk about that in a second.
But
Let
now
me get
so
my
far we
last-
have Stover and Battles and
and his Climax locomotive.
and his Climax locomotive.
I read that. I was like, that's too good. I'm leaving that in
well,
there.
that's
So the first,
Scott doesn't know anything. All right.
the first gasoline-powered car to use a dry shaft
I'm gonna change Jeopardy to add a drive shaft category now.
was the auto car in 1901.
Oh, the auto car.
You have no
Great
idea what
brand.
that is.
No, the auto car. Auto car was a brand.
It is.
I mean, it's
But
not.
you're
It is,
assuming
it
that
was.
that it's the same auto car that we know. Was that?
It was. How is it not?
I-
Well, you did the research. Tell me about your accredited sources.
Anywho,
You tried
so
to
now Neil can tell you about the great
Oh, the
beefiness
actual-
that
the
is this
actual
Adams dry shaft.
practical application of this drive shaft that's sitting on our.
And I
our
felt
stand.
appropriate to show how they ship this. It is so nice.
They do, and again, hashtag not sponsored. These are completely unsolicited reviews and you know.
But parts we use on our own
Parts we
vehicles.
use on our own vehicles and in our own builds, and why we do that. And it is important to note, folks, that I personally am like a U-joint. Just it sounds so weird, but I
he's a
love
junkie.
U-joints. Yeah, and I love the actual technology of how a constant velocity joint works, and so that CV terminology applies to a universal joint as well. And to my right, your left, if you're viewing, is called a double cardan. And so a little quick quip on the business itself. And again, if you've known me very long, we actually started in used parts. And people would say, well, hey, I need this drive shaft. Can you sell it to me? Sure, I got this used drive shaft, and we'll sell it.
And the U-joints are hanging off by a thread.
Yeah, and so then the same customer goes, well, hey, what U-joint should I use? And I say, well, I use Dana Spicer. Best U-joint, their original manufacturer. They make this beefy product. And I said, awesome, well, how do I get that? And I was like, I don't know. We should
you
figure that
don't.
out. Well, Taylor, yours is going to look like that. So he's impressed by it, I think.
Yes.
So
it's a good part.
So they say, well, how do I get that? And I said, well, I should sell them. You know. So that brings us to that. So then the third stage of this, and I had already done some generic service for people, a lift kit on Scott's wedding day in my driveway.
That happened.
And they said, well, can you install them for me? I'm shipping a used drive shaft to, I don't know, Minnesota. And said, well, hey, can you just throw the U-joints in and ship it to me? I said, well, I can do that.
Therefore, service was born.
And therefore, service was born. And so we started building drive shafts. And then Adams happened, as far as I was concerned.
And then that whole us doing it scrapped.
I built drive shafts for the better part of probably 3, 4, 5 years. And again, there was some reputable manufacturers out there at that time. No discredit to anything they were doing. But the folks at Adams Drive Shaft were building them with such robust product and such appropriate precision.
Such a good process.
And with huge customer service follow through. Huge. There was all these stories about them overnighting stuff out to people when it did go south.
Yep.
And I always tell people the measure of a successful business is not how many times we do things perfectly, but how we respond when things don't go right. And that was a big thing that Adams, James really stands behind his product. They use specifically Dana Spicer or Niapco manufacturing U-joints and components. Yep. There's a handful of manufacturers all over the world who make drive shaft parts, but those two are the leading manufacturers, arguably in the world, with the highest quality and the highest process.
Yep.
The standard U-joint sizes that you're going to find with your XJs, MJ, ZJ, YJ, TJ, is going to be a 1310 series U-joint,
which you see here.
And then later, as the JKs became more popular and big heavy tires and that kind of stuff became more the norm, we started doing 1350 componentry. No, I did do a set of 1350s way back in the day, and there's actually a number of parts that have to do as far as adapting this double cardan or adapting the components to the vehicle itself, because quite frankly, we just didn't have those parts available to us in the off-road industry at that time. And at this point, Adams is able to do that with this quality Dana Spicer and Niapco products at such a price point that makes getting a locally made drive shaft for your Jeep kind of silly, because they can make it, they can paint it, they can balance it and ship it to you, arguably for half the cost of what it can be made for in most local applications. That's not to say maybe you've got a great drive shaft builder in your region, but there are a couple, as far as Tom Woods and Jay Reel and Adams, I think it's Jay Reel, who are these, kind of really reputable. Of course, Yukon makes it. Dana Spicer do make their own drive shafts. The big thing is there's also a number of manufacturers who are selling pre-assembled drive shafts, and we the Jeeps end up to us after they've gotten this pre-installed drive shaft. It's only been on 6, 8, 10 months.
And most of them get one of these. Well,
and most of those customers get one of these Adams. And the customer says, well, I just bought that drive shaft. And the unfortunate reality is that this process is not one to be taken lightly. So when you there's actually quite a few components involved here, and one of your most critical components is one that you can't even see. So not your listeners online, but even if you're just kind of your average Jeep enthusiast, and it's called the weld stub shaft, and it's a welded component that affixes to the primary tube or the primary body of the drive shaft, and if that is welded ever so slightly, an eighth to a quarter inch out of true.
Needs surgical precision.
As you're welding it together on a lathe, it's called out of phase. And a drive shaft that's actually welded out of phase will inherently give you driveline vibrations. It could be weighted on a high-speed balancer, and it's still going to give you driveline vibrations.
Especially through suspension travel.
And there is a leading manufacturer who sells a lot of affordable drive shafts, and
very consistently are out of phase.
Consistently are out or welded out of phase. To our knowledge, those drive shafts are not made in the United States, which is always a big piece for us as a company. But that's one of our biggest criticisms of that component, that manufacturer's drive shaft. It really doesn't cost that much more to get a high-quality USA-made one. So not only is the phasing absolutely critical in the process, but the quality of the U-joints themselves. And some other time we can talk about U-joints, or if you're really interested,
do a whole podcast on U-joints.
I love U-joints. And I could, but what I'm going to share with you is that the high-quality construction 1310 series solid U-joint by Dana Spicer, or arguably Neapco, is constructed in such a way that it's going to take 100,000 miles, and 100,000 mile
easy
beating miles.
If anybody grew up through Jeeps and they had an XJ and they left it stock, which I guess is kind of challenging to do that, but if you did that and you could drive that thing 200,000 miles on a regular basis in my early years of mechanic stuff before I was here, you'd see a Cherokee with all the original U-joints in the drive shaft.
Absolutely.
With 200K on it.
Yep.
And they still weren't bad.
They still weren't that bad, and that was Dana Spicer U-joints.
Yep,
and
same ones that are in this drive shaft.
Same ones, and it's a triple seal design with a robust cross member. And in this series, this size series, and that 1310 is like an umbrella, and so it equates to a series. These are just the best. You can buy a greasable, less robust product. They're still good, but they're not as good as the solids. And so every single drive shaft that we build here, with Adams for our customers, are going to use the solid series U-joints. Other pieces besides the weld yoke and phasing is the double cardan. Again, using good quality products there, because that's where we have two of these constant velocity joints that are working constantly with the socket assembly in the center. And then this bad boy, right? This tubular construction here is just absolutely a monster tube. It's obviously not solid wall, but it's arguably, quarter or 3/16. I mean, and I'm pretty certain, I have never had to take Adams up on it, but if you twist their tube, they will probably sit for free. I have great warranty stuff there, and they've just got great customer service. And as Scott had mentioned, that it starts not just from the product itself, but how they ship it.
Yep.
And so if you're watching or if you're listening, they have these great foam blocks that kind of encapsulate the body of it.
Yep.
They paint every one black unless you have an absolute special request. I saw they did a King of the Hammers set in white, I think, the other day. And they have these nice long boxes that fit these perfectly.
Yep.
And then they give you a free T-shirt. Every single order.
Yep.
Free T-shirt. So very, very cool product. And so the little instructions here.
Yep. And they give you bolts and Loctite. I mean, it's a very thorough process.
They want to set you up for success.
Yes.
They want to set you up for success.
When this box comes, you are ready to put that drive shaft in.
Yes. So the only place of that we would add as professionals is when you are installing your yoke on your axle specifically. Yoke to axle, not yoke to transfer case. But for our JK customers who have companion flanges at the axles and you need to replace it with a standard 1310 yoke, you can really get yourself into a lot of trouble based on preload specifically.
Yep.
And so that's one of the big challenges we have seen over the years, is that a lot of DIYers buy a replacement drive shaft, then install it themselves. And I'm not saying that you can't, because
there's
obviously
a process.
there's a process. And you really need to do your best to ensure that appropriate preload stays on the yoke.
And the other important thing to say is, if you buy a replacement front drive shaft for your JK from Adams, they will have a flange that will bolt to that original flange on your axle. So you actually don't even have to do that.
Correct.
Which is super good.
Correct. Which wasn't a thing as much, 5 years ago. 5 years ago, we were changing that yoke, and now we just run the companion flange. And I love that. I love the companion flange.
Makes it very DIY friendly.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you ready to get your butt handed to
you? Well,
Jeopardy?
I think we're going to take a quick...
I saw you running down the clock there.
Yeah, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Talk to you about SFJ gear, and then when we get back... We're going to play Jeopardy. Hey, Jeep family, we hope that you're enjoying this content, and we want to make sure that you head over to sfj4x4.com, find some of this cool merchandise, give us a call at our facility, 440-813-3663. Option 1. And make sure that you tune in to our live podcast every Monday at 10:19 a.m. and check out our updates on YouTube on Tuesdays and Fridays. Until then, Jeep on.
What you guys didn't see during our commercial break was Neil was stealing the batteries from
Trying
Scott's buzzer.
to. We smacked him.
I was trying to steal. I was trying to reload on coffee,
He was.
and I was trying to steal the batteries out of his buzzer.
But I'll use purple. I don't care.
Magenta, 1997 magenta, supposedly.
Which my wife completely backed that up. We got all the pictures of magenta
There's
Jeeps.
plenty of people who have repainted their vehicles
So
pink. I've seen.
for round 3, we doubled the points yet again.
Important to note, I know a lot about Jeeps. Just
We'll see.
We'll see.
So, anyways, we're gonna start with Scott today.
not as much as Rick Harper and Jeep and trivia fun facts.
Come on, put it down.
Copyright material.
We're gonna run this
2021.
for about 15 minutes, and then we will go over to Final Jeopardy for the final question.
Oh, boy.
We'll explain the rules for Final Jeopardy at that point.
Trail rated badge for 400.
No, you don't get to choose. You're losing.
Trebek.
Scott gets to choose first.
Trebek.
Scott has
Stallion.
4,000 points, by the way. Neil
The
has
Stallion.
1,700 going into this round.
So history for 400.
Yes.
This company was the first to own the Jeep brand. Davey, who was
Scott
it?
had it. Just let Scott go. Jeff wasn't even paying attention. Jeff's got the key out.
Yes,
Go ahead.
Which was
Willie's Overland.
that's correct.
Yes, thank you. I'm just gonna because I suck at ringing in. I'm just gonna shout out the answers when you go to answer.
Somebody's salty.
Okay, Scott.
History for 800.
This really should be my.
This war is what Jeeps were originally built for.
You rang before he said
No, I
say
did
4.
not.
What is
Yeah.
World War II? You did.
Davey, who gets that?
You rang in before he even
You
got done saying
got
4.
Davey in your pocket.
Yeah, right.
Okay, Neil.
It's a pity. It was a pity. Give me. I want to know what trail rated badge for 400 is. That seems really fun.
Jeep brand trail rated 4x4 vehicles have to handle some of the harshest, most unpredictable driving conditions. Whether you're looking to take on some of the toughest terrain on Earth or make it home through a freak
I've fallen
snowstorm,
asleep at this point.
right,
your
there's a
Jeep
lot of
brand
words up
trail-rated
there.
vehicle can conquer.
Make it home through a freak snowstorm. Oh, how appropriate, Jeffrey. What is this question asking?
Right?
What is that category of the trail rated badge? There's 5 categories to trail rated badges.
What are you talking about? There's a paragraph.
This is a 400. But
This is a 400. Can you
Question.
just answer it already, Jeffrey, the Italian stallion? Trebek.
What is traction?
never would have got
There's
that.
What is
when
traction?
you go to
Where did you
jeep.com,
get this stuff
when you
at?
go to jeep.com for the
Scott, we're
trail
gonna
rated
get smoked on Jeep.com stuff. We're gonna get
Oh,
smoked because it's so simple that we're gonna
We're
make
gonna
it-
write a
okay.
book, and we're gonna be so right in that book.
Neil, pick another category.
We're gonna write the book itself.
Yes.
Oh God, trails for 400. Yeah, because we're gonna get smoked. We don't actually.
What started as a single trail event in 1967 to attract new visitors to the Moab area in Utah, America, has expanded to a 9-day off-roading extravaganza involving more than 120 trails and about 2,000 four-wheel drives,
Go ahead.
and dominated by the Jeep brand.
Go ahead.
Neil,
Easter Jeep Safari?
that is correct.
You didn't answer. Ask
What
the
is
question.
Easter Jeep Safari?
There you go. Good job.
EJS.
Okay, Neil,
2020 plus. This should be fun.
I need an amount.
400. We're gonna.
In 2021, Jeep introduced this all-new 3-row SUV.
That's Scott.
Just a Grand Wagoneer. Oh, whatever.
Scott loses points.
That's fine.
All right,
you know
Neil?
what? I would have done the same thing though.
Yeah.
I would have. I've heard. Actually, Simons. I think they bought that
They
L,
did.
didn't they?
They did.
They did.
Okay.
Let's go events for 2000.
Events for 2000. This event is in its 5th year in Eugene, Oregon. The weekend event gives Jeep owners a chance to meet one another, talk shop, and have some fun with their Jeeps. Festivities include a welcome barbecue, drives-through and the forest land, dinner along the river, and camping under the stars.
Have you gotten tired from reading yet?
I think he did. You need a drink.
He needed a
You need
drink.
a water. Davey, get him a water.
Oh my gosh! Blah, 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 blah.
Somebody wrote too much words here.
Somebody.
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 Wonder who that was.
I don't know which. In Eugene, Oregon. I don't know.
Not touching that one.
Big shout out to Eugene, Oregon for this. Willie.
Willie at Whitewater Ranch.
Nope.
Nope.
Okay.
All right. Let's do trails for 2000.
We're just get all the ones we can't
These
do.
off-road adventure weekends bring together the outdoors, down-to-earth people and their Jeep 4x4s. These off-road treks have a long tradition dating back to 1953 when 4x4 pioneer Mark A. Smith organized the first one ever. Neil?
Jeep Jamboree. What is Jeep Jamboree USA?
That's correct. See,
Did you know that? Did you know that
No, I
one?
did not know
I was
that.
gonna say I don't think.
I'm not as
see,
into
this
the
is
events
more.
as you are.
This is more my
Yeah.
world. I can't believe how much you cleaned up on entertainment.
Just to clarify,
Phenomenal.
Just to clarify, Neil has taken the lead.
Yeah.
4,900 points to 4,000 for Scott.
Well, we'll go back to something neither of us are going to know and go to trail rated badge for 2000.
Oh, no. Oh,
Trail
my,
rated
that's so much
blank gives you plenty of room between the underside of your vehicle and the terrain, allowing you to drive over rocks and logs without underbody damage. Approach angle, breakover angle, and departure angle are all maximized, giving you more options to go over when going around is impossible.
I'm never going to get the right word, so I'm just not going to do it.
Come on!
What is ground clearance?
That is correct.
Jeep.com. I love that you also made sure they were all copyrighted.
Yes.
So those of you who are listening, please don't sue us.
Yes.
Scott, what do you want to do? 2020 plus 800. I should have done 2000. I don't know.
The new 4xe
Ooh.
Wrangler battery can be fully recharged in approximately this many
That's not
hours
fair. He
using
knows
an
that.
available level 2 charger, the 240 volt.
Well, level 2 charger. They're very
See,
specific.
that's the level 2. Yeah, this is in the categories of stuff. Because level 1.
He's thinking back to that group he's in.
So there's actually a new group that's just angry owners
Of 4X?
of 4xEs.
Uh-oh.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
It's supposed to be a sarcasm group, but so far there's a lot of people who are
Salty.
not sarcastic. I honestly don't know.
All right, so
gonna go-
the correct answer is 2 hours.
That was my guess.
the level 1 charger
See,
would
I
be
knew,
12 hours.
I knew level 1.
Okay.
Why was that an acceptable answer?
It was not an acceptable
Oh
answer.
yeah, well it was level 1. You threw level 2 in there.
Yeah.
I
All
put
right.
level 1 in there just so you knew that
All
there
right,
was a difference.
Scott. What we're also not going to know is trail rated badge for 1200.
Swiftly dodge obstacles on the trail, veer around narrow gaps, or safely navigate around an accident. Thanks to precision steering and optimized wheelbases, your Jeep brand trail-rated 4x4 vehicle can handle tight trail switchbacks and emergency situations. Unless
There's
you're
a
Neil
question
driving.
there?
There's a question
Unless
there. I was like, true? Which is true?
Yes.
What?
What is yes?
No, we need to know the category of the trail-rated badge that is.
I understand. I understand. You think there's a question there,
Just
but
a
that's just a
statement.
statement.
Yes.
Thanks to precision steering and optimize your Jeep brand vehicle.
Because it's the answer. You're supposed to provide the question.
Oh, boy.
What is steering? I don't. Go. Come on. What is
What
it?
is maneuverability?
I can't even spell that word.
Trails for 800?
Currently, there are over 50 trails that are recognized by this unique program. Neil knows this one. I know he does.
Well, it's the Trail Badge program.
What's it actually called, though?
Does it have a name?
Yes.
The really cool badges that are on all of our customers' vehicles,
Right.
From driving across the country and wheeling
I'm
things.
taking away the points from you.
Whatever.
It's Jeep Badge of Honor.
I'm so sorry, all of you who display your badges proudly.
Proudly.
And
We have
I'm very
older
excited
Jeeps.
for you.
Okay.
So we don't ever do a category I can actually get.
Well, you
or-
pick
I
a
don't know.
category.
No,
Pick a
it's still
category.
Neil's turn.
This is. I was going to say this is.
do
I'm sorry, it's
history.
entertainment. Entertainment that's not on here.
Do
Do history. Scott wants history for 1200.
This is not just a slogan, but a way of life.
Oh, this is the actual Jeep slogan.
Uh-huh.
Let me see what I got.
No cheat sheets for Neil.
This is
Take
the
that book
actual
away.
approved Jeep slogan, which I actually kind of thought was funny. I was like, man, that is cool.
Yeah.
Go ahead, go with it. Go anywhere, do anything.
Go anywhere, do anything.
That is really cool. I thought.
How's
like,
that history though?
I'm gonna.
It's the history
I'm
of
telling
Jeep.
you,
It's a slogan.
It is. It's the current approved slogan. History for 1600. Scott's feeling how I did before.
Yeah.
In the
That's okay.
4x4's first public outing, it was driven up the steps of this building. Davey, who got that? Davey, you got to give it to somebody.
Give it to Scott. He can have it. I'll give him a petty vote now.
All right, Scott.
Which is the 93 Grand Cherokees.
No, I need to know which building.
ZJ. What
Which
building?
building. Scott, you're not even answering the right question. Go ahead, Neil. Go ahead, Neil.
Do you know what building it was?
Scott lost points.
What
What is the steps of the Capitol building?
The U.S. Capitol. That's correct.
Is that where they drove through the
This
glass?
is you're trying to do the ZJ. This is actually when they debuted the Willys. The Willys CJ. They actually brought it down to the United States Capitol.
Scott should be able to get the last one of the history
Go
category.
ahead, Scott. We'll let you pick.
Yeah,
It's
pick
history for
Penny.
2000.
In this decade, the Jeep brand's 4x4 leadership continues with the introduction of the first full-time 4x4 system, the sporty two-door full-size Cherokee. Sweeps the 4x4 of the Year Awards. 6 models help elevate sales to the all-time highs. We need the decade.
Come on, Scott. Come on, this is you.
Which is the 1970s.
There
That
you
is
go.
correct.
Because you have your Jeep is the Jeep.
Well, it's a two-door Cherokee.
Well, yeah, but it's
Very
the 70s.
specific.
Yes, because it won the big deal is that it won the all-time 4x4 achievement.
Okay.
Okay.
That's all. I love that.
Go ahead,
stuff.
Scott. Pick a category.
Entertainment. Scott's begging for doo-wop music and movies right now. This is my
2020 plus for 2000.
Jeep plans to install these in support of the Jeep Badge of Honor trails across the U.S. that are underway. Look for them at iconic Jeep brand locations such as Moab in Utah and the Rubicon Trail in California.
Oh, that's you, Scott.
Go ahead, Scott.
Which is charging stations.
Yes.
Solar power charging stations. Scott,
Yes.
you have that. Very
Thank
good.
God.
For those that can't see,
Coffee.
for
I
those that
almost-
can't see, coffee just went across the table.
Oh.
Okay.
Just tie Neil, it'll be okay.
You rang in so fast.
All right,
I try.
Scott.
Wow, you're such a faster ringer in. Let's see if my sounds are.
I think the ding
All right.
dong's faster.
I think the ding dong's faster. It's better response rate.
Okay, 2020 plus for 1600.
The Grand Wagoneer features the kind of utility that makes light work of heavy loads. It has an available best-in-class maximum towing capacity of up to this.
Oh.
They're touching that
We
with
are
a 12-foot
not the
pole.
guys. We are not the guys to talk about
The answer is
approved.
9,850
Let me tell you
Which
what I
means
can
I can
tow
use
with
it as
it.
a one-ton
I
truck.
was gonna say, let me tell you what I can tow with it. Everything.
Everything. If it's rated for 9 pounds a pound from the factory, hold my beer. I can
Oh my
use
God,
that
I'm
stuff.
hooking this bad boy up.
All right, Scott, go ahead.
2020 plus for 1200.
Let's just get that out of the way.
Yeah.
This all-new Jeep has a massive starting MSRP of $88,440.
There's so many it could be. Makes me sad. Jeeps are so expensive now.
Well, I think that's the Jeep we were just talking about.
I thought that was higher. I thought that was 100 grand.
Oh, unless this is a 392. That might
Which
be a
I've also
392.
heard being 100 grand.
Someone
No,
gonna buzz
no,
in,
no.
or we're
This
just
is
gonna give you?
this is the 392.
You confident enough to put your
No,
points on?
I'm not.
It's the Grand Wagoneer.
Oh,
Right.
we were first.
We
right.
were. Oh man.
All right,
Must be the stripper model.
Yeah.
the luxury
Crank-
stripper model.
Crank
This
windows
crank windows for 88
crank
grand.
windows for 88,000.
right, Scott.
Whose turn is it? How do
I
you
have
know
no
that's
idea.
Scott's turn?
Because he got the last one right.
Did your following along that well?
Yes.
Good for you.
I'm the host. I'm supposed to.
Events for
That's
400.
good job, Trebek.
Events for 400. This is one of the largest Jeep-only events in the country, attracting 200,000 visitors and 20,000 Jeeps in 2019. All 50 states and 26 countries were represented during 2019.
In 2019?
Yes.
So it's
This would
not,
have been the year before COVID really
which
took
is not
off.
the one we were thinking of, I don't think.
I'm gonna do it.
It's low point. You'll be okay. You're still gonna beat me.
Oh, what is that? That's not my ringer.
All right, what is it?
What is Jeep Beach?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Neil's got the events down.
He does.
Well, that's what I do in life.
All
So
right, so what's the next one?
let's go to trail rated badge for 16 while we're getting smoked on those.
Yeah.
It's more fun when we
The
don't
best
know.
adventures usually take place on the roughest terrain, but good blank doesn't come, or doesn't just come in handy when off-roading. Areas with heavy construction or deep potholes require maximum suspension flexibility. Higher levels of blank ensure your wheels remain stable and engaged when one or more tires are off the ground.
Which is flexibility.
No.
No.
Oh well.
Good. Doesn't come in handy when off-roading. Articulation. What is articulation?
That's correct.
Same thing.
Did you take Scott's points away?
Yes, I did.
All right. I got points taken away. What do you want to do, Scott? Trails for 16?
Just get rid of the trail rated badge.
Trail
we all
rated
hate.
badge. We hate. I'm sorry,
With
Jeep.
trail rated capability on your side, you can transverse bodies of water.
We can transverse them?
Yeah, I'll make a remix for you guys.
Okay.
Bodies of water that other vehicles wouldn't dare attempt. Electrical connections and body openings are sealed.
It's because you're reading a novel at this point.
Right.
You're done reading.
and the air intake is positioned higher to protect your vehicle when driving through overflowing creeks, streams, and deceivingly deep rainstorm puddles.
I cry bullpucky. We've worked on these Jeeps. We know where those are.
So, anyone want to venture a guess?
Vehicle when driving through.
It's a
Fording ability.
Yeah.
What is fording ability? I don't know. We don't want to guess. Go ahead. Tell us.
You should have guessed. You would have been right.
Oh,
Water
what is
fording.
water fording?
It's such specific words. That's the sucky part.
Listen to you.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank God that category's over.
Events for 800.
Daily Double.
No.
No.
This 11th
No.
annual event will be held June 10th through 12th, 2022, and SFJ 4x4
Oh.
will have a very cool booth for everyone to stop by and meet the stars of our podcast.
Oh, Scott, you get this.
Which is Bantam.
That's close enough. Give them to him. Yeah.
Scott got it.
Still beating the crap out of me.
11th annual SFJ will be the 10-year sponsor.
So that is
No,
our
9-year sponsor.
That's
I
our
don't know.
15 minutes. Let's,
15 minutes,
we're
man.
gonna-
We left. I want to know what the other ones were on the board.
All right, the other ones on the board, we had trails.
Yeah.
This ride was developed by Steve Curtis, who loved the sport and wanted others to be able to share and enjoy it too. In his memory, this lives on.
Oh, that's cool. Go ahead. Let's just run
So
through.
this was what
Jeep
is Jeep
the USA. Okay.
Trails for 1600 was looking to tour the Grand Canyon. This Jeep tour company offers unique insights into every nook and cranny as you tour the Grand Canyon from an open-air pink Jeep Wrangler.
Yep.
This is
Pink Jeep Adventure.
Pink Adventure
Pink
Tours.
Adventure
so
Tours.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Events for 1200. These events offer many Jeeps events in the New Jersey throughout the year. Our premier event is the Wildwood one, held in the summer on the beach in Wildwood, New Jersey.
Yep. Ocean City Jeep. Yeah, New Jersey.
Jeep Invasion.
Mhm.
And event 1600 in 2018, 19, and 21. These events each brought in more than 60,000 people, including Jeep enthusiasts from all over the United States, Canada and Czech Republic, Mexico, and the District of Columbia, New Zealand. The estimated economic impact for the 2021 event was $5.1 million.
I love that DC was listed with other countries.
Yes.
Yeah, and Toledo Jeep Fest. Big shout out to Jerry Huber, our friend.
All right.
Yeah.
So that was that. We're going to switch over to Final Jeopardy here.
It's like those. It's like the current events. You know what I mean? Like that's really where I cleaned up was like the current events.
That's
stuff.
just not my.
It's
my
just
thing.
not your thing.
No.
Yeah. Final Jeopardy with SFJ 4x4.
Yep.
All
So
right.
apparently, during that Jeopardy, Amy was yelling at the screen, and Evie is confused.
Yes. I'm sure she was. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
So as far
Follow after mommy, Evan, not me.
So the way Final Jeopardy is going to work is I'm going to give you guys each a sheet of paper. You want to pass that down to Scott?
Oh, paper.
a marker.
we both got a 70s brown pen.
Yeah.
From that's
Color
the
that-
Fall Guy truck.
Heck yeah.
That color that Ryan's Jeep was. I just spilled coffee all over the counter.
I think that's from when you spit it, but that's okay.
Probably true.
Oh dear, it's everywhere.
So, anyways,
And you made music for this.
Oh, you made music? What?
Did you know that the music they use in Jeopardy is copyrighted?
Oh,
of course, it
Right?
is.
yeah, that makes sense. But I mean, Sega Genesis,
Right.
But I guess it's copyrighted.
I was gonna say they
We're
probably
not
paid
paying.
for the rights.
We're not paying Jeopardy, and we're not paying Jeep today. All right.
So
Everybody's
anyways-
got and Rick Harper. We're not paying any of you.
So as
you
far-
all get your credit.
As far as the Jeep
Can we be
music
done?
goes,
Oh,
the Jeep question, I'm gonna
Currently
I'm gonna
winning,
read it
so-
out to you. You're gonna have to write your answer and wager. Remember that.
Now you're gonna have to
I
remind
have
us how much.
9,700, and Scott has 4,800.
Okay.
Correct. So you have to make a wager as to how much you're willing to gamble with the correct answer. You're gonna have 2 minutes to write your answer and wager.
2 minutes.
During those 2 minutes, I'm gonna have a series of sound bites playing to distract you.
Oh no.
And as we begin here,
Nobody's watching at this point.
They've all gone to sleep.
Everybody's gone.
My wife's
to
still
sleep.
yelling at the screen though.
Your wife is the only one who's watching. She's yelling at the screen. People are like, "Oh my God, did you hear him reading those novels?"
all right.
Once they heard us not know the Jeep badge of honor, they
Yeah,
were
they
like,
were
"These
like,
guys are shut it down."
Yeah.
We just fell 6 spots on
Unfollow.
iTunes.
So here's the question:
Unfollow.
before there was Jeep, there was blank. John North, Willys, the man for whom the vehicle is named after, pronounced his last name. While it's been pronounced both ways by Jeep historians and enthusiasts for years, it's hard to argue with the man whose name is on the vehicle. We are looking for how it's properly pronounced.
No,
I can't write that. I can tell you it.
you
I can't write it. The heck am I supposed to write that?
So here's your music.
Did I just say it?
no, because you can write it. That's the difference.
You can write it. I can't.
Well, no, because there's a very specific way you can write it, which is what he's asking for. What the heck was? Oh yeah! Oh, I'm gonna dance like Jeffrey was. Oh, he had the wrist cross. Oh, Davey's got this one.
I don't even know how to write that. Which my wife is now yelling at the screen somewhere.
Scott's cheating. He's looking at my paper.
Can I look up on my phone?
Taylor is laughing at you guys currently.
Why? I thought this music was supposed to distract us. I'm in the groove now.
And you're
Oh.
not writing your answer, so it's working.
I'm not doing this. I know the answer, and I'm
You,
not doing
you
it.
have to write an answer. Otherwise, you
I'm gonna make it
completely
real-
lose all your points.
Oh, Jesus.
You lose all your points. I'm raising the roof because that was cool 20 plus years ago. And then Davey said, Dora's a classic.
That's right, people.
Raise the roof, Davey. Raise the roof.
Davey said Dora the Explorer was classic.
Dora the Explorer.
And on that note,
What is this? What? Hire the guy who has the audio background.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Can we be done yet?
The plus
We both
side,
have answers.
yeah, we
the
both have
plus side
answers.
is none of this music is copyrighted, so you're good.
Okay.
We're not paying anybody today. We're good. We're ready.
Before
Let's
we
go.
lose all of our-
Before everybody goes to sleep. As we ride our horses into battle during Jeopardy, we slosh our cups and
Okay.
sing.
Yay, we're over.
All right, final answers.
9,700. I'm wagering all of it.
Okay.
Because the points don't matter.
And since you both have the same spelling, go ahead and tell me the pronunciation.
Which is Willis.
Willis.
Willis is correct.
Willis.
So you both.
With a s. I will always say Willie's.
I'm sorry.
And I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I will.
When I was a young person sounding that word out on the side of the hood, that's what it came back as.
And
Just sounds
I
right.
love when I'm out in public as me, like at a Jeep show, and an individual, a DIYer, corrects me and says Willis, and I want to be
I'll
like,
just
yeah, I
keep
know,
going and go Willie's.
yeah, I know, but you know what? I like Willie's at this point, but yeah,
So-
Willis, John Willis.
So unfortunately, Scott, that means that this round allowed Neil to come back and absolutely destroy
Decimate.
you.
That's fine.
That's
Much
okay.
like you destroyed him in the first.
Yeah,
two
I was
rounds.
going to say,
You
because
catered
nobody's
this to
watching right
Neil.
now, so it doesn't actually matter, right? Everybody fell asleep during the start of this one.
Yeah, and then if they were still listening, they were confused by the music,
They were confused.
and they just got off.
So
I'm just glad
everybody
I don't
knows.
have to read the questions anymore.
Everybody knows you just absolutely walloped me on like the other things that matter.
it's
So,
okay.
I'll never live that down. I'll never live that
It'd
down.
be okay. So he made the first episode for me. The middle one we didn't get at all, and then the last one was for Neil. It just worked out.
It worked out wonderfully.
Yeah.
We all go home
His
friends.
points were just more.
Except for the Italian Stallion with his dance moves.
Yes.
I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, folks. It has been fun. I hope you had as much fun as we did in the production of it. And if you're, watching on YouTube,
Still watching.
I mean, God, I hope you are, but I have
It
my
will-
doubts.
It will get better. I swear.
Well, I don't think so because we're 13 episodes in. So make sure that you like, subscribe, smash that notification bell so that you can get updates when we're having a good time talking Jeep. Also, there's some really cool videos out there where I am personally reviewing for sale ads on Marketplace because right
And
now
if
the
you
market's
have good
crazy.
ones, send them to us.
And if you have good ones, send them because we found some real doozies so far.
Speaking of good ones, if you guys have any ideas for future content that we can mess with these guys with,
We'd love to hear it.
Yep.
We would. And if you are joining us from one of those podcast streaming sites, we thank you so much for your support. All of you who are part of this, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, or any of the streaming sites, make sure you head over to sfj4x4.com, grab you some of that cool SFJ gear, coffee mugs, sweaters, shirts, maybe not sweaters. But until then, we appreciate your participation, you being part of it, and we'll see you again next Monday. Until then, Jeep on.
Keep on.